Hello and welcome to Clearview News. We're reaching you live from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. In the news, work as a team, President Buhari charges ministers designate. World Bank blacklists some Chinese firms in Nigeria for fraud. Trial of former Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir kicks off in Khartoum. I am Prudence Okonna with the details of these and more. President Muhammadu Buhari has charged the incoming Federal Executive Council to fully implement his administration's policies and programs to lift Nigerians out of poverty, declaring open a two-day retreat in Abuja this Monday ahead of Wednesday's inauguration of the ministers designate. The president urged them to work as a team by being open with one another, colleagues, and noting that a lack of communication leads to lack of cooperation and suboptimal performance. While congratulating the new members of his cabinet, the president made it clear to the first teamers that they are coming into office to assist and advise him in running the affairs of Nigeria, and so must be prepared to put in their best.
I congratulate all the newcomers who your country has chosen above others to join the first-term ministers whose performance has been outstanding. All of you are appointed to assist and advise the President in running the affairs of our country. At the end of the retreat, it is hoped that all of you will be in tune with the roles and the responsibilities of positions you will occupy in government.
This presidential retreat is intended to further prepare us to be able to share in this vision and sense of purpose. Let me quickly reiterate that as ministers of the Federal Republic, you will be required to work to the high standards of integrity, discipline, and dedication that have been set by the President in his long career in the service of the country.
As one of the senior government officials in the area of policy making, we have also been invited to come and join the ministers designate in receiving or in listening to Mr. President about the policy thrust for the next 4 years. I think this is a very brilliant initiative, and because what it will do is that it sets the focus. Everybody knows what the assignments and responsibilities will be in specific terms between our next 4 years. And I'm here because as a member of the Monetary Policy Authority, it's part of the attempts for collaboration between the monetary and fiscal authorities in Nigeria.
And earlier, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, had told the ministers designate that all work must connect the aspirations of the people. Also at the retreat were Vice President Yemi Osinbajo and Chief of Staff Abakari. And indigenes of the Federal Capital Territory on Monday failed the India bid to stop President Muhammadu Buhari from inaugurating the 43 ministerial nominees following the refusal of the Federal High Court, Abuja, to grant an order to that effect. Justice Taiwo of the Abuja Division of the Federal High Court in a ruling on an ex parte application brought by an aggrieved FCT indigene and an Abuja-based legal practitioner, Musa Baba Panya, declined to grant the ex parte order and ordered that the respondents be put on notice. Baba Panya had, on behalf of himself and the indigenes of Abuja, dragged Buhari to court for failing to appoint an indigene of the FCT into the Federal Executive Council. None of the 43 ministerial nominees into the Federal Executive Council is from the FCT. And following their successful screening by the Senate last month, the federal government announced that they would be formally inaugurated on August 21. The Independent National Electoral Commission has shed more light on why Atiku Abubakar, candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in the 2019 presidential election, could not have won. INEC said Atiku was not declared winner of the exercise because it was satisfied that the PDP candidate did not secure majority of lawful votes during the election. The electoral body also denied the allegation that votes were illegally awarded to the ruling All Progressives Congress to make its candidate Muhammadu Buhari win a second term in office. Vanguard reports that INEC gave the explanation in its final written address it filed before the Justice Mohammed Garba-led five-member panel presidential tribunal. The report added that INEC's team of lawyers led by Yunus Usman asked the tribunal to dismiss the petitions by Atiku and the PDP over the victory of Buhari. The electoral body insists that the petitioners failed to justify why a fresh election should be conducted. INEC claimed that Atiku's allegation that it unlawfully awarded votes to Buhari in some states ought to be proved beyond reasonable doubt, since it is criminal in nature. Clearly, it can be gleaned that nothing concrete or specific has been offered by the petitioners in this regard. For example, the petitioners pleaded wrong and deliberate entry of wrong results by the first respondent in 11 states of the country, namely Borno, Yobe, Bauchi, Gombe, Jigawa, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Niger, and Zamfara states. The most astonishing part is that the petitioners failed to call witnesses who were at the various units to observe these various alleged anomalies. INEC therefore submitted that the petitioners have failed to prove the allegation of non-compliance with the Electoral Act and indeed every other allegation contained in the petition, and urged the Election Tribunal to throw the petitions for lack of merits. A former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Maurice Iwu, has regained his freedom after spending a week at Ikoyi prison in Lagos. Professor Iwu's lawyer, Ahmed Raji, while confirming this, said his client had met the bail conditions and had left the prison since Friday. The ex-INEC chairman, who is facing 1.23 billion naira fraud charges, was on August 8 arraigned before Justice Chuka Obiozo at the Federal High Court in Lagos. Justice Obiozo admitted Iwu to bail in the sum of 1 billion naira with two sureties, and like some, ordered him to submit his passport to the court with an order that he could not travel except with the permission of the court. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission had on August 8 arraigned Iwu, accused of laundering 1.23 billion naira in the build-up of the 2015 general elections. The anti-graft agency alleged that between December 2014 and March 27, 2015, Iwu aided the concealment of 1.23 billion naira in the account of Bioresources Institute of Nigeria Limited, domiciled in the United Bank for Africa. It said he ought to have reasonably known that the 1.23 billion naira formed part of proceeds of an unlawful act, to wit, fraud. The FCC prosecuting counsel Rotimi Oyedepo told the court that the ex-INEC chairman acted contrary to sections 18A and 15 subsection 2A of the Money Laundering Prohibition Act 2011 and was liable to be punished under section 15 subsection 3 of the same act. Professor Iwu pleaded not guilty to the charges. And the former Minister of Petroleum Resources, Daisy Anyalisi Madueke, has urged the court to order the return of her 2,149 pieces of jewelry and a customized gold iPhone valued at $40 million, which were seized by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Desiane, who is currently in the United Kingdom, accused the EFCC of entering her apartment illegally and taking the items without any court order. She said the anti-graft agency violated her fundamental right to own property and to appropriate them at her discretion under sections 43 and 44 of the Constitution. She urged the court to reject the prayer by the EFCC to permanently forfeit the jewelry and the gold iPhone to the federal government. The EFCC had on July 5, 2019, secured an order of the court temporarily forfeiting the jewelry and the gold iPhone to the federal government. The anti-graft agency told the court that it found and recovered the jewelry and the customized gold iPhone on the premises of the respondents, adding that it reasonably suspected that the former minister acquired them with proceeds of unlawful activities. But in the application filed on her behalf by Kalu, Desiani contended that the court lacked jurisdiction to have granted the interim forfeiture order in the first place, as she had not been charged with any crime or served with any summons by the EFCC. And the People's Democratic Party has commenced screening of its governorship aspirants for Kogi and Bayelsa governorship elections scheduled for November 16th. The exercise is holding simultaneously at separate venues in Abuja, while aspirants from Bayelsa are being screened at the party's National Secretariat or Data House, Wuse Zone 5. Aspirants from Kogi are taking their turn at Legacy House, the party's presidential campaign office in Maitama district of the city.
Ahead of the Kogi and Bayelsa governorship elections, the People's Democratic Party (PDP) has chosen the indirect primaries as its standard for conducting the polls in the two states. The chairman of the screening committee for Kogi is Taraba State Governor Darius Ishaku, while the chairman for Bayelsa screening committee is the governor of Oyo, Seyi Makinde. Speaking separately with newsmen after going through the screening exercise, the aspirants expressed confidence in the screening and satisfaction with the process. The former governor of Kogi, Idris Wada, who was the first aspirant screened, also described the exercise as satisfactory.
I believe that I satisfied the panel, and I have a very positive disposition to what they have done. So far, I've been warmly welcomed. People are very enthusiastic about my candidacy, and I'm looking forward to a successful primary by the grace of God. To the best of my knowledge, there is no rancor. We've all been in the room there. It's been quite friendly. People are chatting, laughing, joking. So I believe, it's been a very convivial environment, and hopefully at the end of the day, everybody will rally around whoever emerges as the party's candidate from the primaries.
The senator representing Kogi West, Senator Dino Milai, who is also an aspirant, says the committee is doing a professional work, adding that he is hopeful of crossing the primaries hurdles.
I also use the opportunity to announce to you that Dino Milai will be governor Kogi State in November. I have tremendous confidence in the screening committee because they were very professional, and I also met every requirement demanded by the screening committee and the guideline of the party. We've crossed this ordeal by the grace of God. We shall cross the primary ordeal, and Elabelo shall be defeated.
The story was not different for other aspirants from Kogi, who said that from the interaction at the screening, they believed the committee would do the right thing and they are going to emerge victorious.
Empowering a woman is like taking an insurance. You have a shock absorber. Nothing takes you by surprise. So women empowerment, infrastructure, human resource development, driving investment based on the facilities that we encourage them, that we put in place. I tell you, it's going to be a kind of overhauling of the whole system. No more hunger. Our agriculture will receive the best technologies and the best hand to manage it. So I also see that our children, I take the guns off their hands and give them jobs. I'm really interested in that.
110% confidence in the quality of the committee, the process of the committee, and the expected outcome of the deliberation therein. I have a DNA that is bereft of the aspiration. If I don't make it at the primaries, then I have an overriding duty to support the party to victory at the general elections.
As at the time of filing this report, the chairman of the committee was still busy at work to brief the media on the process. Annie Patrick, reporting for Clearview Television.
And moving on, the ECOWAS Commission has called on all actors to pledge their commitments for providing bold and firm actions in reducing the sufferings of populace and protecting innocent civilians. This appeal took center stage at the commemoration of the World Humanitarian Workers' Day in Abuja this Monday. Our correspondent Ife Olua Ishola was there and now reports.
As Nigerians join the rest of the world in celebrating the World Humanitarian Day, relevant stakeholders are gathered here to celebrate women humanitarians, especially those who lost their lives in the line of duty, as well as those who became injured or maimed. The ECOWAS Commission's Commissioner for Social Affairs and Gender, Dr. Siga Fatma, says women humanitarians hold a sense of unparalleled uniqueness, one that adds to the global momentum of female strength, power and perseverance. On the United Nations theme for the 2019 celebration titled Harnessing the Role of Women in Humanitarian Actions, From Vulnerability to Building Resilience, Dr. Fatima challenged relevant actors to join hands to create an enabling environment for humanitarians, especially the women, to carry out their tasks.
Given the recklessness exhibited in modern warfare, civilians more often than not become targets of most conflicts. I am especially delighted that this year's commemoration highlights the work of women humanitarians, the important work they do in saving the lives of those in emergency situations. The ECOWAS Commission is happy to work with all partners to sensitize the public during peace and conflict times of the need not to see humanitarians, particularly female humanitarians, as targets. Humanitarian workers must be respected and protected at all times. We call on all actors to pledge their commitments for providing bold and firm actions in reducing the sufferings of our population and protecting innocent civilians in our ECOWAS space.
Also speaking, a representative of Nigeria's Federal Ministry of Health, Dr. Ngozi Azodo, says women in the humanitarian field are prone to be war spoils, as they are often treated with no regard. Such situations, she says, often lead women to get infected with different diseases, and that this explains why the ministry set up an emergency health support program in the Northeast, a hotbed for insurgency.
We in the health sector, we had the human resources for health, we had logistics support, we had coordination, and of course we had the entire health system response and health services. In providing health services, we are mindful of a critical component, which is gender-based violence or sexual health. And there again is where the woman is most at risk. And so we did provide for health support that is targeted for the female in humanitarian crisis and for the female healthcare worker in humanitarian crisis.
The Chief Executive Officer, Cedar Seed Foundation, and Voice of People Living with Disabilities, Lois Hauta, who lamented the rate of humanitarian crisis in Nigeria, recommended that the federal government should put in place structures to check humanitarian crisis.
The policies in place on humanitarian crisis should be implemented. Secondly, we need to collaborate, we need to come together, we need to partner with the various structures in place to be able to eradicate or to eliminate this humanitarian crisis.
World Humanitarian Day, celebrated annually on August 19, is an international day dedicated to recognizing personnel and those who have lost their lives working for humanitarian causes. Ifeoluwa Ishola, reporting for Clearview Television.
Bandits on Sunday evening killed 4 persons at Sayu village in Jibiya local government area of Katsina State. Confirming the incident this Monday, spokesman for Katsina Police Commander ASP Anas Gazawa urged residents to always work hand-in-hand with security operatives to get rid of cattle rustling, kidnapping, armed banditry, armed robbery, and all forms of criminalities in the state. Trouble reportedly started for residents of the village around 5:30 p.m. on Sunday when the bandits struck at the village and rustled 4 cows. The villagers reportedly mobilized and went after the bandits, following them to the forest with a view to recovering the rustled cows. In the process, the bandits allegedly attacked the villagers, killing 4 of them before retreating further into the forest. And 3 suspects alleged to have been involved in a failed prison break have been arrested by the Edo State Police Command. The suspects were paraded at the state police headquarters in Benin City, Edo State, South, Nigeria.
The planned attack on Oko prison in Benin City was failed following intelligence reports from the Inspector General of Police Intelligence Response Team. Commissioner of Police Damalam Mohammed says the suspect had plans to attack the prison and release some of the inmates.
3 people were arrested. Part of their plan, they want to use dangerous weapons, including explosive or IED, to break the Oko prison and liberate some of their members who have been convicted last year.
The suspects, including the relative of a convict, narrated their roles in the failed prison break.
He called me to tell me that there are some idiot people that are coming to break prison.
Sorry, who called you?
That is my brother who is in prison. Now, they said they need that if he's able to send them 200,000 naira, they will include him among their people they want to free. On Friday morning, he now called me again with another number. Said that the people said they need 20,000 naira. Between 6 and 7 in the night, that on Friday, I now post the money to their account through POS.
He called me from prison that their appeal has said that I should please help him with some money. He was now telling me that the prison there are some persons there that their people want to go and free them. But they said if he raise small money, he will, when they get to the prison, they will free.
CP Damalam Mohammed restated the commitment of the State Police Command to the protection of lives and property. He calls for constant vigilance while advising all to report any suspicious activity. Joy Esekweyi reporting for Clearview Television.
You're watching Clearview Television News. We'll be back after this time out.
Kana nufin Dangote Foundation? Ya zaɓe su ne don bunƙasa kula da lafiyar al'umma da kuma ingantar da ilimi mai amfani a cikin al'umma.
Daga ina kake jin waɗannan kanun labarai?
Daga cikin decoder ta, ɗaya daga cikin decoder nan. Daga nan sai ka gaya wa installer ɗinki ya miki scanning zuwa na Comsat.
Duk daga Clearview Television kake sauraron sa?
Ku garzaya kasuwa don mallakar taku decoder sannan ku scanning ɗinta zuwa na Comsat. Ku dinga kallon Clearview Television a tsanake. Sai ku iya gabatar da tallace-tallacen ku a cikin farashi mafi sauki. Domin neman ƙarin bayani ku tuntube mu a lambar waya kamar haka: 08 35 54 9292 da inganci muka yi wa saura fintin kau.
Some Chinese companies in Nigeria have been blacklisted by the World Bank for fraud and corruption. The companies include China Railway Construction International, Nigeria Company Limited, China Railway 18th Bureau, Nigeria Engineering Company Limited, CCECC Nigeria Lekki Company Limited, CCECC Nigeria Railway Company Limited, CRCC Petroleum and Gas Company Limited, and CCCEEC Nigeria Company Limited. All the companies are very active in Nigeria with ongoing or completed contracts for the construction of railways, highways, housing estates, airport terminals, municipal engineering, water resource and hydropower engineering projects for federal and state governments. The World Bank announcement on its website accused the companies and several others around the world of violating the bank's fraud and corruption policy. Consequently, the 6 companies were debarred and declared ineligible to be awarded any World Bank finance contracts for at least a year between June 4, 2019 and March 3, 2020. The Kogi State Council of Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria has called on the state government to consider paying the salaries of its staff presently on its pardon list after verification exercise. The call was made during the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria 14th edition of North Central Zonal Conference held in Lokoja, the Kogi State capital. The acting chairman of the union representative, Amani Gabriel, who read out these and other demands during the 14th edition of the Council's North Central Zonal Conference in Lokoja, called for a one-roof system of implementing primary health care.
I want to use this medium to appreciate the head of service for the good work done during the review of the screening exercise that brought back our members back on payroll. I only want to extend my deep appreciation to the government of Kogi State for the recent step taken in alleviating the suffering of workers by last payment of 5 months' salaries from the bailout balance from the federal government. However, some constraints and challenges persist. These challenges include the following. Some of our members who were cleared during the last screening exercise, as well as those on pardon list, are yet to be paid their salaries, their arrears of salaries. Our member in the local government area has been a perpetual percentage salary from the previous administration and even to this present administration.
The National Vice President of the North Central Zone, Onu Edoka, who is also the chairman of the Kogi State Council of the Nigerian Labour Congress, expressed satisfaction with the state government's handling of the balance of the 30.8 billion naira bailout funds. He explained why the union has not gone public on the issue.
Too wrong for us to hide under one finger and claim that this government has been owing and is down completely. The workers are dying. We use all form of propaganda before today to get the attention of the federal government to bring out the bailout of 30.8 billion, which has been effectively used by the state government. For those who feel the money has not been used, can engage the government of Kogi State through their own means of engagement. But to us, as labor leaders of Kogi State, we are only two good cries that came out of the minds of the chairman of Medical Nigeria Union in the course of his speech. One, that we have 10% left to go across board for everyone among the state workers that will touch whatever amount of money they are owing you. Call it 30 months, call it 20 months, call it 25 months. You are supposed to be getting 10%. These are some of our resolutions that we have in the government. And why we have refused to talk to the press, as labor leaders wanted to know, even for the solution that I'm speaking, is because that side of the agreement has not been met. And once that side of the agreement has not been met, it means government is remaging in our own side of the agreement. We too are now remaging in our own side of the agreement, which says that labor shall address press, stating the two positions of the bailout fund utilized in the states.
He condemned what the called the local government administrator's refusal to carry out the governor's instruction to pay 100% salary to his members.
And this government will inherit the percentage and has been sitting on the percentage and has been paying the percentage until the bailout came, and they now manage to pay 85%. But I want to make it abundantly clear that the 85% they paid was not the handwork of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of the State. It is the handwork of his appointees who ordinarily felt that the only way they can go is to run this government down by all means. I have always told clearly that those who are involved in such shady acts will be named and shamed at an appropriate time. Amen. We cannot continue to condone any acts where His Excellency, the Executive Governor, will direct that go and pay them 100%. And somebody somewhere will sit down, manipulate the system to their own favor, and turn the local government as a handbag that they carry everywhere they go. And it's a box where they can deep hand into, pick what they want to pick, and at the end, give them what they're supposed to give them with. Comrades, as my colleagues from various places, I am telling you categorically today that the 85% they have paid, we of Labour in Kogi State still stands to challenge it, and we are saying
Government officials present at the event promised to look into the union's demands.
A committee has already been set up to look into the discrepancies because we get embarrassed, really, when we get to a function and we talk about state workers being well attended to and local government workers saying no. So the governor has set up a committee to look into the synergy so that when we talk about salary in Kogi State, it's going to be uniform.
For the past 2 to 3 years now, these workaholic workers have sustained adequate delivery of healthcare services to the good people of Kogi State, and they must be appreciated for this. I also want to enjoin them that we need to shun interprofessional rivalry that do exist in the health sector so that we can cooperate and collaborate and work effectively as a team. You will recall that recently His Excellency signed an amendment bill of the Kogi State Primary Healthcare Development Agency, which will now enable us to put all the primary healthcare under one roof. That is, all the primary healthcare will now be under Kogi State's Primary Healthcare Development Agency, an agency that is going to oversee the administration of health workers at the level of primary healthcare.
The North Central Zonal Conference was attended by officials from Kogi, Kwara, Benue, Nasarawa, Niger, and Plateau states, and the Federal Capital Territory. The people of Bunu of Kaba, Bunu local government area of Kogi State have called on the federal and state government to grant their request for Bobo local government, arguing that Bunu comprises of more than 40 communities. The call was made during the maiden edition of Bunu Week, a cultural event that involves all Bunu communities.
It was the gathering of dignitaries and personalities of Bunu and other neighboring communities to witness the New Yam Festival and cultural display in the city of Bunu. The president of Bunu Development Association, Reverend John Jebawondo, traditional rulers and others said the need for the creation of Bunu local government cannot be overemphasized.
I know that creation of local government now is not possible, visible. But I want to appeal that when the opportunity comes, everybody in Bunu, our royal fathers, to please come together, rub minds together, and let us fight for Bunu local government so that we can develop and we will be freed from oppression.
Bundu knew compassion, they gave compassion, they displayed compassion. Why did we have the wickedness of today amongst us? Where is it coming from? What has gone wrong? We need to look inward.
The unity that is required in Bunu land for us to make progress, we will use this forum to lay the foundation for a very solid unity amongst us.
The federal and state governments were urged to attend to pressing infrastructural challenges in the area.
His Excellency, Executive Governor of Kogi State, Ladi Yahaya Bello, who is ably represented, I wish to draw your attention fact that Bunu is endowed with rich cultural heritage, abundant human resources, and natural resources that needed to be optimally tapped for accelerated development. Infrastructural development, like construction of good roads, electrification of our villages and towns, establishments of schools, hospitals, and industry to process the enormous agricultural produce in the district, and of utmost importance is the grading of our traditional rulers who are the symbol and the custodian of our culture.
The traditional ruler of Bunu, Oba Joseph Ekusemoro, expressed joy at the coming together of Bunu's sons and daughters.
I thank God that all my ambition is gradually fulfilled by God.
The special advisor to the governor on sustainable development goals, Abdul Mumuni Okara, who represented the governor at the event, promised an immediate response to the community's healthcare needs.
To talk of building of laboratory, he has asked me which of those one sustainable development goal. So inshallah, NDD will move in and see what we can do to ensure that we lift our Bunu people.
The Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Matthew Kolowole, and the State Security Advisor, who is the chairman of the Bunu Week Organizing Committee of the Bunu Week, said the Kogi State government will look into the people's requests.
The program I have seen today has brought about more about culture and historic in nature, so which has really taught us a lot of things about how Bunu came up. I believe Bunu will be great, but at the moment what we are working on is the electrification projects of Bunu land.
Bunu Kingdom, as far as history is concerned, we are great people. And because we have not been able to come together, the vision of Bunu is that we are thinking that by government, in the next creation of local government, Bunu local government should be created. Either local government or LCDA.
50 youths smiled home from the event with secondary school sponsorships, while 3 received skill acquisition sponsorships of 500,000 naira each. A number of women also benefited from some skill acquisition training. The number of music and dance troupes were on hand to spice up the events. Cecilia Okoli reporting for Clearview Television.
And the 2019 Osun Osogbo Festival in southwest Nigeria has come and gone, but the memory lingers. While basking in the euphoria of the success, acting Consul General of Brazil, Helges Bandera, says Brazil will always partner with Yoruba culture as they share similar cultural heritage.
In no small way, the annual festival is a boost to the economy of Osun State, as traders, hotel owners and transporters enjoy boom during this event. Osun Osogbo Groove was recognized by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, in 2005 as one of the World Heritage Sites. This UNESCO recognition has made the annual festival a global one, as tourists across the world usually converge on Osogbo to celebrate this festival.
Nigeria has a lot of potentials in terms of cultural tourism, in terms of cultural heritage that can boost the economy of this country.
It is the government's determination to drive the state economy with tourism.
The Consul General of Brazil, Helges Bandera, noted that Osun Osogbo Festival creates an avenue for Yorubas to showcase the richness of its culture to the international community.
This is a beautiful festival, and to me it's really nice to come here to Osogbo and see all the people of Nigeria having fun, really enjoying themselves.
Speaking on the significance of the festival, Are Ona Kakafo of Yoruba land, Gani Adams, emphasized the need for Nigerians to embrace their culture and traditions and stop identifying the religion with worshipping of idols.
Promote culture very well in your society. You will be a very good Omoluabi. You will believe in justice, you will believe in truth and honesty, and you will know the implication of involving in crime.
As expected, there were lots of cultural displays. The Osun Osogbo Festival is celebrated every year for 2 weeks in the month of August. The festival begins with a traditional cleansing of the town of evil. After 3 days, the 600-year-old 16-point lamp is lighted. Drama presentation, Ifa Otari, as well as royal blessing by the Ata Oja of Osogbo, Obajimo Olanipekun. Joy Esekweyi, reporting for Clearview Television.
You're watching Clearview Television News. We'll be back after this time out.
Huni ahoime, Bawuni enwome, ati sojete, Bawuni iresu amuhi, Baki epezwe, ati ameme worokame, da shekura novede, Ibiraba beva says onini, Isamuhi, oniri odovide kura ame, oniri saza, esi kameeni, Avabani voneva savore, Diaka, iresu Ibiraba TV, oneva save of it down in Josile Sokoko, e Turanone, Ibiraba be, Yavabe, Inyo Ishon, Dia novede.
Látòrí ìdárayá kí orí ọ̀dọ̀, látòrí ọ̀dọ̀ olóṣèlú títí dé orí ọmọ lọ́balọ́ba àti ìjòyè ra wọn. Ẹ̀kọ́ àti àṣà àti ìṣera. Ètò ẹjáyé ìgbóra ó ti rá láti jẹ́ àmọ́ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ní tẹ̀lẹ̀. Ní agbègbè ra àti àyíká ra lílẹ̀ ọkùn. Agbọ́ra àwòrà níbi ẹ̀tíyàwó ra ètò ẹjáyé ìgbóra àti mọ́rin gbogbo ní bẹ́ẹ̀ tẹ̀lẹ̀ àwòrà lórí rẹ̀. Ẹja sọmọ kọ́ ọmọ sọ.
Wow! Ekide ṣe wa gẹ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀dẹ̀ jẹ́ kó máa gbómú wẹ. Ekide ṣe odúkanike dúkọ́ lọ́yọ́gbá. Ká àwọn dúgbẹ́dẹ̀ mú àwọn ọmọ àgbàdùfò ọ̀nẹ́kẹlẹ́ polúgulẹ̀. Mánike kọ́má alùpùpù máa gba báyìí alùpùpù máa kọ ìchíwa ìgalà. Omi kùnà ká iṣọ́ máa mẹ kókó jẹnẹ ìgalà dẹ̀. Ẹ̀dọ̀mí ṣẹ̀gbọ́kù gbójúlé òṣọ́ máa mẹ ìgalà. Lẹ́kínà gòwá ojí tẹlifíṣàn kìdẹ́ mẹ́pa. Ẹ̀kídẹ́rẹ́ máa bínú.
You're welcome back, and moving on to the foreign stories. A detective has told a court in Sudan that the former president Omar al-Bashir admitted to receiving millions of dollars from Saudi Arabia. Mr. Bashir appeared in court on Monday to face corruption charges, which his lawyers say are baseless. He was ousted in April after months of protests, beginning and bringing an end to his nearly 30 years in power. In June, prosecutors said a large hoard of foreign currency had been found in grain sacks at his home. On Sunday, pro-democracy activists and the country's military leaders who had removed Mr. Bashir signed a deal paving the way for elections. The former president, dressed in white robes and a turban, appeared behind a cage. He made no comment on the allegations. And the UK government has set rules allowing EU nationals to live and work freely in the UK will end in the event of a no-deal Brexit on 31st October. Theresa May had considered extending freedom of movement to 2021 or allowing EU citizens to stay for 3 months before applying for a longer stay. Boris Johnson said the UK would not become hostile to immigration. The PMs added that immigration into the UK will be democratically controlled. However, the 3 million group, which campaigns for the rights of EU citizens living in the UK, said ending freedom of movement without putting legal provisions in place for those EU citizens who have not yet successfully applied through the settlement scheme will mean that millions of lawful state citizens will have their legal status removed overnight. And the Syrian government airstrike aiming to stop a Turkish convoy reaching a rebel-held town in northern Syria has killed 3 civilians, Turkey alleges. According to the ministry, another 12 people were injured in the attack in Idlib province on Monday. Idlib is one of the few areas in Syria not under government control. Syria has condemned the convoy, which is laden with ammunition. Turkey, which supports the rebels, says the strike violates previous agreements. You're watching Clearview Television News. Up next is sports.
The Nigerian police force, through the dogged efforts of the Inspector General of Police, IG Mohammed A. Adamu, in a bid to combat the high rate of criminality and criminal elements, kidnappers, domestic offenders, violence, cultism, rape, robbery, amongst so many others, has launched the Police VGS mobile app. The Police VGS mobile app is a web-based dispatch system for quick emergency reporting of incidents by citizens for the prompt response by the Nigerian police and other emergency and security agencies. Within 5 seconds of reporting, the appropriate government security or emergency agencies will be alerted and help will be deployed immediately. If you find yourself in a situation where your life or the life of another is threatened, such as kidnap, rape, robbery, road accidents, fire incidents, medical emergencies, natural disasters, or any attempt on your life or the life of a fellow Nigerian, all you need to do is to silently swipe the Police VGS app on your mobile phone. Policemen will be alerted immediately and help will be sent your way promptly. This is particularly handy in case of kidnap on the highway, roadside, one chance, or case of robbery or any communal unrest whatsoever. All a victim needs to do is just to swipe the app on a phone, either as a victim or an observer. Policemen will be alerted immediately and help will be deployed for appropriate intervention. Apart from reporting emergencies, the app also has a unique features such as Escort Me. Once this app is activated, the police force and other security agencies will receive the coordinates of the dispatcher of the distress. Either on the highway or within the city, a user can also report incidents, the eyewitness feature on the app. The mobile app is available for all Nigerians on the iOS and the Google Play Store platforms. Android or iOS phone became Police VGS Mobile Reporter. As soon as a subscription to the Police VGS app is made, the Nigerian police will be on hand to attend to incident reporters in a matter of seconds. Swipe to safety. Terms and conditions apply. Always remember, the police is your friend. This message is brought to you courtesy of the Office of the Force PRO.
There it is. What a shot from Tiger. And the Jamaican juggernaut scores his first goal for a professional side. And
Hello and welcome to the sporting segment of Clearview Television. I'm Ogutimehin Tololakpa Ogutimehin. The Nigeria Football Federation have disclosed they were shocked by a live ban slapped on the country's former coach, Samson Siasia, by FIFA for bribery, and they will support him to clear his name. World Football Governing Body FIFA Friday banned 52-year-old Siasia from all football-related activities after an extensive investigation into matches that Wilson Raj Peruma attempted to manipulate for betting purposes showed he breached Article 11 of the 2009 edition of the FIFA Code of Ethics. Acting NFL President Sheyi Akiwumi said in a statement Monday, the NFL were shocked to learn of the investigation and subsequent decision by the FIFA Ethics Committee, placing a live ban on Mr. Samson Siasia, Akiwumi said. But we have now received documents, including one known as the motivated decision, and we have handed them to our lawyer to study and provide legal advice to Federation. Akiwumi describes Siasia as a legend who they will support to clear his name. It is a massive sanction on one of our legends. Siasia is a football legend, but most importantly is a Nigerian. We must therefore be interested in the matter and properly advised. Siasia gave his all for Nigeria, playing for the under-20 team right from his secondary school days and then for the senior team for several years, and also coaching the under-20 and under-23 teams and the Super Eagles. While we respect the FIFA processes and appreciate that an investigation was conducted prior to the decision, the least we as a federation can do is empathize with him at this time, make ourselves available to him, and hope that in some way he is able to clear his name as he has promised to do. Meanwhile, MPFL usher Sunusi Ibrahim has been left out of the Under-17 World Cup bound Golden Eaglet following the controversy that followed his call-up after he was invited by the country's Under-23. A Golden Eaglet official said the team has stepped down the invitation of Sunusi. He will stay with the Under-23s. Reports say a previous MPFL license of the Nasarawa United striker has surfaced on social media, which ran against other documents that were presented in defense of the Under-17 invitation. His international passport issued in March said he was born on October 1st, 2002. He has also reportedly passed an MRI scan to determine whether he's under 17. Last season, Sunusi finished joint top scorer in the MPFL with 10 goals. A total of 78 players have been listed for a final phase of screening after the Golden Gate training camp was thrown open. Coach Manu Gaba invited 52 players made up of the bulk of the players who featured at this year under-17 AFCON in Tanzania. The open screening at the Fever Go project in Abuja this past week has produced another 26 players who will now jostle to get into the main contention to make the final squad for the World Cup in Brazil in October. The Eaglets, who finished fourth at the Tanzania 2019, have been drawn against Ecuador, Australia and Hungary in the first round of the World Cup, which starts on October 26. Nigeria have won the World Cup a record 5 times: 1985, 1993, 2007, 2013 and 2015. Meanwhile, Kano Pillars coach Ibrahim Musa has reiterated his desire to upset Ashanti Kotoko in the CAF Champions League showdown in Kumasi on Sunday. The Nigeria outfit are set to face the Ghana in a preliminary first-round return fixtures, having won the first leg 3-2 at home at the Sani Abacha Stadium. We are preparing massively to come to Ghana and beat them on Sunday because my team is doing well and I trust them. I will come to Ghana and play good football to qualify. We'll consider 2 set-piece goals against Kotoko and we are working on them before we come to Ghana. Pillars are playing the Champions League for the first time since a first-round elimination in 2015. Meisugida's side finished second in Nigeria Professional Football League to qualify for the championship. The aggregate winners of the Kotoko Pillars tie will secure passage to face Afia FC of Guinea or Tunisia club Etoile du Sahel in the second round of qualifying. Meanwhile, the senior national team of Nigeria basketball, talking about the Tigers, were the first country to qualify for the 2019 FIBA World Cup, and they are on the brink of being the first team out before the event even begins. With less than 2 weeks to go, financial issues and players' unrest threaten the Tigers' participation at the Basketball Global Showcase in China. Last Friday, a number of players took to social media to allege that their World Cup money has not been released by the Ministry of Sport, which is the team's only source of funding. Boasting Sekis Tanokoye, Ekweodo, Ike Orogu, and Gab Vincent were among those who aired their grievances on social media, posting and reshaping the message. They said it has been an honor and privilege to play and represent Nigeria in preparation for the FIBA World Cup. However, the Sports Commission of Nigeria refused to release the money allocated to us for training, food, travel and equipment in order to properly prepare for the World Cup. Initially scheduled to leave for China on Monday, General Manager Musa Damu told reporters at the weekend that all that is now up in the air. I cannot tell you exactly when the team is leaving for China, he said. The team is here in Nigeria, but there are no funds available for now. The Federation is looking to the ministry with hope that funds will be released for us to travel. Meanwhile, the Permanent Secretary of Federal Ministry of Youth and Sport, Olushade Adeshola, said they are working with the Federation to resolve it and hope it will be sorted out soon. And that's it from the sporting segment of Clearview Television. I'm Oguntimehin Tolulapa Oguntimehin.
Juggernaut scores his first goal for a professional side. And
before we go, a look at our top stories. Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari has advised ministers designate to work as a team against the charge at a retreat ahead of Wednesday's inauguration. World Bank has blacklisted CCECC and 5 other Chinese firms in Nigeria for fraud and corruption. All the companies are very active in Nigeria. We also told you that the trial of former President of Sudan, Omar al-Bashir, has started in the capital, Khartoum. His lawyers, however, refer to the charges against him as baseless. And that's the news. Remember that you can subscribe to our YouTube channel via Clearview TV, like us on Facebook via Clearview Television Online, follow us on Twitter at Clearview Online, you can follow us on Instagram at ClearviewTV_NG. You can also watch Clearview TV on night concerts with any free-to-air decoder. For details, contact your local installer. I am Prudence Okona. Many thanks for watching.